Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve. This is Live with Neve. Iconic musicians, comedians, and entertainers of all types. Interviews, comedy, and God knows what else. Hold on!
All right. Happy hump day, everybody. Here we are. We are high in the highlands. Excuse me, I want to correct that. We're going to have to change that phrase. We are high in highlands. The Highlands is in Scotland. Highlands is in New Jersey. We're 30 minutes across the bay from Gotham and its charms, or lack thereof, somewhat these days. It is hump day, so I hope everybody is lucky. We asked the metaphorical question, do you prefer one hump or two? That's always good to know. I always go for the two-humped variety. I think they're a better value for the money. Today, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. I have my co-host, Julie, standing by, lurking in the wings. She's going to come on and entertain us a little bit. And we have a very special musical guest today. We have Paul J. Baccash. Paul is a rock and roller and done all kinds of different music. He has some good stuff to play, and I think you'll find it fascinating, and I know you're going to like it. This week we have, this afternoon, I've got Roy Bookbinder coming on, and we're going to go ahead and carry on our conversation about all things music. For the past century, we're going to be talking about antique guitars. We're going to pick up where we were a few weeks ago, the last time we had Roy on. Roy is just amazing. I encourage you, if you don't know who he is, to go ahead and just do a quick Google chat, or Google search rather, or look for him on Facebook. The man is a living legend, and I'm glad we get some time to talk to him. He's a very funny man, extremely talented, and we're going to have a great time. This is my first time meeting Paul. Julie, why don't you come on here and say hello to everybody?
Hello.
There we are.
Hello. Yes.
Happy hump day, Julie.
Happy hump day.
Yes.
What special thing are you doing for this hump day?
I don't know. What is the audience up to? Let me go back and see if we can see any comments yet.
What's going on?
Hi, guys. I don't see any comments yet, but that's all right. They'll come. All right. A couple things before we get rolling. Julie, I think we ought to talk for just a second about our generous donation we've had lately.
I'll let you go ahead and tell your awesome work and everything you've done.
Well, I have to say, Brian Kuiper is a friend of ours from Indiana, and I got to know him through the Warren Zevon Association family group, the ZCon, the whole Zevon connection that I have maintained. Great guy, and he gave us an amazingly generous gift, which I'm not going to go into the amounts for anybody, but I'll just tell you that he gave us a donation which will allow us to be on the air for the next 6 months. That is like phenomenal, and we're all I can say is thank you, man. It was very cool of you to do, and we can't thank you enough. Julie is going to be getting a looper as well, which we like.
Yay,
and
thank you for everything.
Yeah, and we'll hear lots of Julie with her band, Irate, and they'll be irate with you. You know, I should almost have to join the band as an honorary member because I can be quite irate, as some of my fans know.
There you go. Hey.
I just have to say, it's a great name. The band looks like it's going to be great, and I know you're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
How was practice last night? Did you have a jamming up, hard rocking killer time, or how did it go?
Yeah, pretty much. That was it. Yeah, our second get together as a band. So learning all of all the music on our own. But yeah, it was great. We had a great time, and got things tightened up the way we need to, and we're going to be at it again tonight.
Excellent.
We've got a show coming up in Wisconsin in about a little over a month, so we have to prepare for that. So that's what we're working on. So
excellent.
Yeah. So
you will see Julie out on the big stage coming soon with Irate. Heavy rock and metal at its best. We can't wait to hear you guys. Let's go ahead. Let's talk to Paul a little bit. Get his
Paul.
Paul, man. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Paul.
Welcome.
Hi, Neil. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
How are
How are
Um,
you?
you? Good. How are you?
we're, we're
Good.
excellent. We're excellent. So
I'm so glad
tell
to be
me,
here. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh,
excellent.
happy
Well,
to.
we're glad to have you. So tell us, Paul, for people who don't know you and your background, tell us a little bit about your background in rock and roll and how you started and how you got to here, and then we'll talk about your new record.
Okay. Um, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and I'm of Arabic descent, Syrian
Mm-hmm.
to be exact. Born here in America, but very near and dear to my culture,
Mm-hmm.
specifically the music. I've always loved Arabic music. It always has touched me. So even when playing rock,
Mm-hmm.
in my solos, I've always kind of incorporated uh, the the rock, I mean the Arabic scales, like the Phrygian harmonic minor scales that are directly related to what you hear when you hear Arabic music. So
Right.
it's always been in me, and I've always kind of thrown it in wherever it was. I felt it was appropriate. Certain songs you
Right.
just can't use it, um, and a lot of people think it's got a Latin feel, and that's not necessarily wrong. My music does have a Latin feel, some of the songs that I play, uh, but it is more out of my heritage of being an Arab and uh, being a proud American Arab and loving the culture of the food, love the food, and the
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
So
Good.
I played in an original band back in the day called Seductive Luck, and we have two CDs out because back then you did CDs, and that was with Demon Doll Records. You can go to their website. I think it's demondoll.com. You just search Demon Doll Records, it'll come up. And so that has all of my music on there. And if you listen to some of the songs, you hear some of the things, the riffs. There is that Arabic, or some people may think it's Latin influence.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And then
Yeah, it's very
after that band came to an end, uh, I just started doing my own thing. And I created this band called God's Day Off. And it was all about, and I wrote a song uh, that basically says that with all the things that are horrible about this world must have happened on God's day off. So
I love it.
me
that's the
too.
concept of the band and the song.
Mm-hmm.
The band only played for a couple of years. I have a bunch of songs with that band that were under the God's Day Off name. And then from then, I did the solo thing. And for the last 20 years, I've been performing more so than recording. I've been recording, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
performing live has been my passion that I just couldn't turn down. Each gig that just kept coming in, you just can't say no.
No, no, of
So
course not.
Right.
although now we are in a pandemic, which is a horrible situation, it did have a silver lining for me because it forced me to, well, I won't almost say forced me. It gave me the time to get back into my studio, which is where we are here, and finish songs that I've written over the years and write new songs.
Good for
And I
you.
have this lit fire in my heart that has been dormant for a while because, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the original scene is very difficult. And so
Yes.
it can be daunting and it can be dismissive and it can just really make you not want to try
Yeah.
so hard. But
Mm-hmm.
now I'm back to it, and people seem to be really liking my music and my
Mm-hmm.
performance. So that's exciting to me, and I can't wait. I released an original in January, just before the pandemic, and I released my latest song called "Have Your Way with Me" in December, and I'm already working on my next one, and
Great.
I'm going to try to do as many as possible. Just keep pumping them out.
Yeah, right, right.
Excellent.
That's
I'd
right.
almost say, have you heard the Kanye West version yet? He wants to do a remix, I heard.
You just
You know what?
Facebook has a joke on
Let
that.
them do it. Let them do it.
Absolutely. And tell you what, if I happen to hook up with Kanye, I'll tell him, I'll send him your way.
I
Wouldn't
would
that
love
be
to hear
great?
anybody's. I would be flattered to hear anyone's interpretation of my music. That would be
Yeah,
Well,
the
right,
ultimate
right.
flattery. Even if I didn't like it, even if it was
Yeah,
something I didn't like, I would be like, I'm amazed that they wanted to do it. That's
yeah,
great.
exactly, exactly.
absolutely. Any press is good press for sure. And, occasionally, if we get any egregious hate mail, I like to talk about it on air because it's always fun to. We can do an analysis of the person writing it, and then I send them a bill for $50. Basically, I'll talk about their various neuroses and the problems they may be having navigating everyday life. And they can sign up for my life coaching class, which is called Debate for Drunks. It's available for $1,500, and basically I have the deck stacked because I'm the only sober one when I have this collection of drunks, and then it's great fun. I can get them doing interesting people tricks. You never know what people do when they're fucked up. Pardon
Yeah,
me,
right.
everybody who's out there
Or if
who's
they're
just
on
got
camera.
offended. I want to clarify if you're watching. We are not like Howard Stern. We don't talk about inserting various things into various places.
Why
Why
not?
But
not? Why not?
well, why
Yeah,
not?
say
Actually, we
something
have
nice.
had it come on. It's funny. We might, you never know. It happens. Occasionally the show runs off its rails, but I just want to warn our more gentle listeners. We love you all wherever you are. We think you're great. We're glad you watch. Again, we were talking earlier about Brian made a donation to us, which is going to allow us to be on the air for about the next 6 months. It's very cool.
That's
Great, thank you.
And the people watching Paul, go to his Facebook page, go and listen to his tracks he's put up there, and then go follow them to his website or go to Spotify or anywhere he's at. Buy some music if you dig it. It's the best thing you can do, helping out local musicians by buying a couple of tunes. If you're, particularly flush, buy the whole damn record. I'm a fan of buying a whole record at a time. I'm an old man, and I like what I like. And all I can say to these young whippersnappers, we had better music, by God. I used
Oh
to
my
have to
God.
walk 20 miles to get a guitar strings, in the snow
Uphill
backwards,
both ways.
well,
Both
you
both
ways.
know,
ways.
what a lot of people might not know is that you don't to support an artist, you don't necessarily have to buy a song. Now, it's great to buy a song, but
Absolutely.
if you go on Spotify or any of the streaming platforms and you put your that artist's songs on your playlist, the more ads a song gets to a playlist, the more it catches the eyes of the curators of
Hmm.
streaming platform, and if it gets enough, they will put it on their playlist. And if you can get on their playlist, forget it.
Yeah,
You
Interesting.
will take
yeah, you're
you
right.
to another level. So
Interesting.
you don't even have to spend a dime for that. You've already paid if you're already paying for the streaming, or even if you have a free version of it and you have ads, you can still create playlists. You can still add artists to the playlist. So
Oh,
I
excellent.
implore you out there, please add me to your playlist
Yeah.
and play the song in its entirety. I found out that they know if someone plays a song and they bail out of it halfway through, that counts against the artist. They want to know, they see the
Mm.
statistics. Songs are played in their entirety. So please add my song to your playlist and please listen to the whole thing.
Whole
If
thing.
you got 4 minutes.
It's
Hey guys,
similar
I have to
to
say, Paul just brought up an excellent point, and we love talking to people like this who are independent artists because he just gave us some valuable info, and I really hope anybody out there will follow his info. In fact, I just learned a few things from you, Paul, and I'm going
Oh,
to tell
cool.
everybody out there, you guys need to, you need to like this show and subscribe on YouTube and do all that good stuff. I
I
know the
learned
show,
I
yeah,
learned the hard
exactly,
way.
exactly.
I didn't when I did my prior release, I had no clue. And then I started
sure,
looking into it and I learned all this stuff. You could also subscribe to my YouTube channel.
yes,
I was just upgraded to an official artist channel. I don't know what
Oh,
that means, but
congratulations.
it just
great.
happened about a week ago, which is very cool. Please subscribe to that. Like my videos, make comments on the videos, and give them a thumbs up. And all that would be very
Hey,
helpful and to any artist.
guys, do that for sure for Paul. I ask you a personal favor, and for anybody else out there, do the same for us. We live and die on. I know I'm expecting a huge check this month in March, excuse me, from Facebook. By the way I see it, I should get .07 cents delivered, which it seems to me the check's worth more than that.
Don't spend that
But
all in one place.
I won't, I don't know what I'll do. I can buy a toothpick or floss, a 3-inch section of floss. At any rate,
But it's good. You gotta start somewhere, right? You gotta start with somewhere. A
yeah.
lot
So,
of times
so
you
tell
gotta get your
me,
sponsors in.
what age did you start playing?
15. I've,
Okay.
I've, I've loved music. I'm the youngest of 4 siblings,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh wow.
there's 13 years between me and my brother, who's the oldest of the
Mm-hmm.
siblings. And so I grew up loving their music. From what they told me, I was singing songs from their eras when I was 4 years old, and
Wow.
listening
Mm-hmm.
and sitting in the living room listening to the stereo. And so my passion for music started very young. Um, and then when I was about 12, I got exposed to, well, younger than that, maybe like 10. I got exposed to Hendrix because my brother was a huge Hendrix fan. And my brother played guitar, and I idolized my brother. I loved my, and I wanted to be like him. So when he told me somebody was good, I believed it. And he was
Does
right.
he still play?
My
Does he
brother,
still play?
my brother died in a car accident.
I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah, when he was 39. That was many
I'm
years ago.
so
So
sorry.
uh, I feel like I'm carrying the torch musically for our family. But he was my mentor and my inspiration, and he's with me every day. My first guitar was his guitar that he gave me. He had
Oh
one guitar, and when I wanted to play and was able to take lessons, he gave me his guitar to learn on.
wow.
wow.
I still have it to this day.
Oh, that's
That's
So,
awesome.
and the funny thing is that when I finally got the go ahead from my mom to take lessons, we couldn't afford private lessons, so I took group lessons. It was
Mm-hmm.
6 people, and so me and my best friend at the time, this guy Rob Chapman, we went to the lesson. The teacher was not in the room yet. And we're sitting there and we're like, oh my God, I hope he teaches us Stairway to Heaven. I can't wait. We gotta learn Stairway to Heaven. That's the most
Right
awesome,
now.
epic song ever. So
Right?
the teacher finally comes into the room and he says, hi, my name is Joe. I'm your teacher. And before we get started, let's get one thing
Oh
straight. I'm
God.
not teaching Stairway to Heaven. And me and my friend looked at each other and were blown away. We were so devastated. So I made it my mission over the first 4 months of learning with this guy. I learned the whole introduction to Stairway to Heaven. And I went back and I said, hey, Joe, check it out. The whole thing. And
Right.
his face turned red. He was so angry at me. And I quit. The next week I called and said I quit. And then I found another guitar teacher named Mike DeCampo, DOCOAMPO. He changed
Mm-hmm.
my life. This guy, greatest guitar teacher ever. He taught me not only how to play rhythm and lead, he taught me music theory. I would go to lessons and he would say, don't even take the guitar out of the case. We're going to sit and we're going to do theory today. And that happened
Mm-hmm.
so much.
Mm.
And it really helped me to be a better musician, a better songwriter, to a better ear in learning and figuring things out. It helped me tremendously. So, Mike DeCampo, if you're out there, I know you're out there. I love you, man. You really helped me to be the guy I am today.
That's
So,
That's a
wonderful.
shout out
so
from
that's
Mike DeCampo.
yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, obviously, like many in our generation, Led Zeppelin spoke to you at a young age. It
Oh,
did for
totally.
me as well. I had an older stepbrother, and same kind of a thing. My mom listened to a lot of Motown, so I have my musical vocabulary is all over the place. I like anything that's really well done, and that it's a broad, big tent where I listen at night. I have 70 gigabytes of music that I keep on perpetual just
Wow.
roam. It ran, and people come to my house. They're like, "What in the hell? We just went from like immigrant song. Now there's some Oingo Boingo tune on." And now there's a Varice song, or there's any number of shit. I just like everything. Then they'll come on some hard rap or some Tupac or something.
Jesus,
And my
God.
neighbors,
That's the way you gotta be.
Combination.
right.
No.
I like to turn my subwoofer on just for the neighbors occasionally because I feel I'm aiding their musical education. And my neighbors are great, by the way. They know I'm the crazy guy next door, and they tolerate my occasional loudness. We'll just put it that way.
Right.
We actually had a funny situation here where we had the every Wednesday night you'd bang pots and stuff. To Wednesday at like 6 o'clock, we'd bang on pans to thank the healthcare workers. So I decided
That's great. Thank
it
you.
was really nice, but I live up on the hill, so I decided I'd just turn on my stereo or it's part of my PA out on the deck. And so I let loose with the Jimi Hendrix Star Spangled Banner, really, really loud. 2,800 watts beaming out. It was pretty cool. Nobody called the cops and nobody showed up. So I was like, great. And it felt great, That's such a great, in fact, I have to mention, we're going to have the conga player on the show who was at Woodstock with Jimi Hendrix. He'll be appearing with us in the month of January. The guy, he looks so damn good. I got to talk to him, find out what is his diet, what is his supplements. I'm just a middle-aged fat old guy. I'm not real fat, but I'm getting there. I'm not like when I was 20 anymore. I look at this guy. He's got like the lowest body fat to weight ratio I've ever seen for a guy. And he's like 78. He's still playing. He's got a great smile on his face. And our friend Goomby Ortiz, Goomby, if you're watching, man, hook me up with that fella. We'd love to have him on.
Interview with you did, and it was great. It was great.
Oh, it's all in the talent too. Goomby's just such an exceptional human, and he's hand carved. Just one of a kind. If you look in Wikipedia and they say, I want the baddest percussionist going anywhere, there's a picture of Goomby sitting there with that crazy ass smile of his. He's just,
I believe it.
And he's one of the most humble people, and I have to tell you, he does a lot for the musical community in Tampa, big time. Has a rehearsal studio, has lots of friends, and he's a very generous guy. And all I can say is thanks, Goomby, for being a friend of the show. His son is also a platinum record producer.
Wow.
I'm not sure of his son's name, but I'm going to ask him the next time I talk. His whole family's just beautiful. He's got his granddaughter is so gorgeous. She's almost as It's like we say, all of us grandparents, our kid is the best. But I have to tell you, Goomby's granddaughter is so cute, and my granddaughter is so cute. They're both around the same age. My granddaughter's a little older, but they are just good. And they're growing up in a musical household, so I hope, great things happen. And
I'm sure.
Do you primarily work alone? Did you have other people work on your album?
I do all my stuff. So this song, my latest release, "Have Your Way with Me," I played everything, every instrument. So percussion. I played fretless bass. I have a fretless bass.
Yes.
Excellent.
Rhythm. I even played a shaker. And I did all the lead and backing vocals, so everything. On my prior release, which is called "I Need Your Love," I had my drummer, a drummer friend who's a dear friend, longtime friend. His name is Steve Lacera. He's actually the stage manager and sound man for Blue Oyster Cult, and he's also an editor. I'm not sure. He's up there as far as his editor title of Mix Magazine. And
great.
all these reviews of venues, live mixing techniques.
Wow.
Incredibly knowledgeable and incredibly talented. And
I knew I recognized his name because I read Mix very regularly, so I can look at gear and go, oh my gosh, if I just get a big chunk of money, I want that Neve.
So he played drums on that other song, "I Need Your Love," and he did such an amazing job. And I also put on the prior song, I put some cello, but I bought a cello and I'm working on it, but it's not good enough to record with. So I bought a plug-in that you play on the keyboard and it plays, and it
gets close. I'll get my grandson to play on it. My grandson plays cello, upright bass, and all that cool stuff. Alan, if you're out there, I love you. And I'm so proud of him.
It's interesting. I would love to have him record on one of my songs.
I'll have to reach out. He just graduated high school and is starting college. doing the sign language thing. See, the problem when I do sign language is if I do it in New York in the city, it's kind of like could be misconstrued as a gang sign. And, you know, I look like if I'm wearing a red or blue bandana, I'm not sure which group I'm going to piss off. Bloods, Crips, you know, I'm the whitest guy they've ever thought should be a member, I guess. They just probably went, who is this crazy SOB coming down here? Listen, Paul, before we go on much further, can I just get you to back your master volume down 1 dB? You're just coming through a little loud, but we like it loud. But go ahead and talk.
Check 1 2. Hey 1 2.
Much better. Excellent. All right, and just keep in mind, because we're live and we're trying to do this with this crazy internet and the Facebook feeds. Just be mindful of your level. If you keep a little back from the mic, you sound great. A little less is better than more because we don't want it to crunch. Digital is grossly unforgiving. You know, but hey, man, let's go ahead and crank up a tune here.
Okay, so as I said, during the pandemic, I have been in the studio recording. So I'm going to play my latest release now, which is called "Have Your Way with Me." I'm going to play along with the recording, but I've muted the guitar and the vocals, and those I will do live now along with it. This way you have a nice full sound.
Great.
All right, here we go.
Back off a little bit, please.
3, 4, 1, 2. The way you stare at me is surely plain to see. There is a seething chemistry, and soon the time will come beneath the setting sun. We will explode in ecstasy. Coming close to me, let us release forbidden pleasure. Take my hand and see, I will lead you to a world of hidden pleasure. Take me home with you, have your way with me tonight. Put your lips on me so voraciously tonight. My hands caress your skin, the barrier of sin, desires to pamper and to do. Your lips tread down my chest, a tantalizing quest. You take command of every pore. Our inhibitions leave as we entangle in relation. Innovation leave as we erupt into a frenzied jubilation. Take me home with you, have your way with me tonight. Put your lips on me so voraciously tonight. home with you. Have your way with me tonight. Put your lips on me so voraciously tonight. Take me home with you. Have your way with me tonight. Put your lips on me so voraciously tonight.
Holy cow. Pat, everybody, I hope you're digging that. Very nice, Paul. Excellent
Thank you.
stuff.
Thank you so much.
So tell me, what are you recording? What you go in Pro Tools like everybody, and what do you use?
Yes, I have a Pro Tools HD system. I have the latest Ultimate.
Okay.
So yeah, I have. I could. Should I?
You have all the necessary devices, I'm assuming. I see the background. You have some lovely guitars.
Yeah. So this is my
All
console is there. There you go.
Very nice.
Console. I got dual monitors.
Mm-hmm.
Dual video monitors, and then I've got four sets of speakers that I can A, B, C, D when I'm
yes,
mixing.
I see the vaunted NS10. I've actually had a pair. I lit a pair of them on fire. It was quite amazing. The cone, while I was mixing, just all of a sudden, I swear, I can't make it up. I'm looking at it, and it's just like right at the edge of the cone where the dust cap is. I see this little red light that looks like a cigarette burn. And I'm watching it, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I start to go towards it, and I look, and I smell it, and then it goes poof, and a little match fire. It starts burning up the cone, and I was like, wow, in all my decades, I have blown some stuff up over the years, mostly when I was a young idiot. But this thing just caught fire in front of me, and I wish I'd had a cell phone.
I've never experienced that, so you're one up on me.
I haven't either. I've never seen it either. It was weird how it started. I guess the voice coil got rubbed against the side, shorted out, got hot, and somehow poof. But you got a great looking room. Tell me, what are your guitars back here? Talk to us about some of those.
Okay, well, this is my sound room. I'm doing I was in the middle of doing a green screen video, so that's why you got this green behind me. There's a drum set under there.
Cool.
But here's some of my tellies.
Very nice.
Yeah. There's my fretless bass right there.
Is that a Spectre?
That's a Warwick.
Oh, very nice. Do you know Andy Irvine?
I do not.
He was the product manager for Warwick. He's one of our friends. He's a bass player originally from Tampa. Now he's in Colorado. Look at this. You've got a great collection. Look at the BC Rich thing. Or is that a Dean?
That's a Beast. That's a BC Rich Beast.
Okay.
And then there's my Les Paul.
Very nice.
A couple of Jacksons, a Strat. So let me talk to you real quick about I'm sorry to be moving around, but I'll put it stationary now.
No, that's okay.
So, in addition to being a songwriter and a musician, I also build my own guitars.
Oh, now that we'd like to talk about. That is very cool.
So this is my latest build. If you notice,
it looks like an Ibanez, except you've expanded the holes.
It's a Strat. It's a Strat neck, but what I've done is I've scalloped the neck, the frets.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice.
Something that's a Yngwie J. Malmsteen thing.
Yes.
Someone that I idolize. I think he's an amazing guitar player. And then I did this whole thing to give it a flair. And I have two of these, actually. The other one's upstairs. This one's made of paddock wood, P-A-D-A-U-K. It's a beautiful wood. And the other one, maple. So this is something that is a passion of mine. I did this because every time I buy a guitar, I love Strats. Strats are like my favorite guitar,
Hmm.
but I always feel like they don't have exactly everything that I want in a guitar. So I've
Sure.
always done modifications, like
Hmm.
swapping pickups, changing
Right.
volume pots, changing the configuration of the pots, uh, sanding
Sure.
down, scalloping the back of the where the neck bolts in, so that it's easier for your hand. Some of my guitars have that. So when I built this is the second of the two that I built. When I built the first
Hmm.
one, it was the intention to put everything that I love in a guitar into a guitar. And it came out so good that I decided to build the second one so that I have two of them. And so when I go to shows, I have two of these. Um, and I love them. They sound great, they feel great. And I even put my own little, it's probably backwards,
Okay. No, it's not backwards at all. Very
oh,
nice.
Baccash guitars,
Phenom series.
the Phenom
And
series, and it's Paddock. SC stands for scalloped, so it's the scalloped Paddock series.
ah, explain to everybody what the difference is between a scallop neck and a non-scallop neck, if you could.
Sure. So when you play a guitar, traditional guitar, when you press down, you press down and as far as you need to until you touch the wood of the guitar, the surface of the neck,
Right.
and it produces a sound with the help of the metal fret. So
Right.
so it produces. Now this scalloping technique is based on the Indian guitar, which is called a sitar. And
Yes.
a sitar doesn't have frets. I'm sorry, it doesn't have a neck like a wooden neck. It just has a metal rod that goes up, and the frets touch that. So the in between spaces are air. It's nothing there. So when you play the sitar, you have to apply the exact amount of pressure, because if you apply too much, you will
Hmm.
raise the note. So
Right.
the scalloping does the same thing. When I play this guitar, my fingers never touch the wood of the neck. So
Interesting.
when I first started playing this guitar, because I'd never played a scallop before, I always wanted to. The first 3 months, my fingers were stumbling all over the place because I wasn't used to it. I was applying too much pressure. But once my brain kind of got it, now I love it. It changed my playing. It made it when I when I play the nylon string guitar, I have to retrain my brain because you have to press harder. And I made some mistakes before because I'm so used to playing lightly on
Hmm.
this guitar that when I change over to a traditional non-scallop neck, it messes with my head. So my
Sure.
my memory functions of how much
It's
pressure
that
to.
muscle memory, I think, that you develop. It's sort of like playing.
Yes.
Some drummers are right or left-handed. I'm kind of either or, but if they use somebody else's kit, it just feels a little off. We're going between an electronic kit that has, like, say, rubber pads to a acoustic kit. I mean, it's like night and day, and it's a very different technique. Like you mentioned, it's about adjusting your muscle and your muscle memory, and it takes a lot of time. I've actually that was the best explanation I've heard for a while of exactly why do you have a scallop neck, and I
Right.
like
Well,
that.
that's the reasoning. It's all about getting a lighter touch. When you get it, it makes
Hmm.
you faster, cleaner, more precise, and it makes it easier on you. As I get older, I don't want to press as hard as I used to have to press. So this is actually kind of nice. It actually just
It's funny you said that because I just saw a Billy Gibbons interview and he was talking about how BB King back in the '60s came to see him. I think the Downstairs was the name of his band before ZZ Top, and basically
oh,
BB he let him play his guitar. And Billy asked him, he said, well, and that Billy Gibbons voice said, well, why you use them light gauge strings? And BB was like, well, the reason I use those lightweight strings is, boy, I don't want to work that hard. What's the matter with you? Why do you want to work so hard? So Billy said that back then the lightest gauge strings were like 09s. And so he immediately went out and found a place that would get him 08s. And he said ever since then, he's been using it. And it kind of answered a question for me. You know, when he does that harmonic thing, it's like, wee, wee, wee. And you know it's Billy Gibbons when you hear him doing it. Anybody else, immediately as soon as I hear it, I go, oh, that's got to be the Reverend, you know, he's just tearing it up.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting because I've heard lots of guitarists I've worked with and played with. You know, there's like opinions abound. Some people, I have to, use certain blends. I know some people are so crazy they use mixed sets. Whatever makes you feel comfortable and it makes your craft better, I'm cool with. But it's always amazing. Go ahead.
I use nines. I know guys that use sevens.
Wow.
I break. The only string I break is the thinnest, the 9, the E, the high E. And
right.
I have tried going to 10s, but it's too thick for me. I don't like it. I don't like feeling on my fingers. And I guess it's because I've just gotten so used to playing 9s. That's what I do. That's what works for me.
Whatever, works for anybody, I'm a big fan of. And, if you're doing it, keep doing it and do more of it. Julie, you have any questions today? Your mic's off, love. I don't hear you.
How about that? Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yes.
There we go. What I wanted to ask when you were talking about the strings, are they what's better to use with the scalloping? The wound, oh geez, I just had it and I lost it. The flatter strings or the rounder bound, you know which ones I'm talking about? Or maybe,
so are you asking if there's a difference of whether to use flat wound or round for scallop?
Yeah, for string-wise. Yeah.
I don't know, actually. I use round wound only because it's what I've been using. That's actually a good question. Maybe the next time I change strings, I'll put flat ones on and see how they sound. I do know that. Yeah, I do know that when I first bought my fretless bass, I put round wounds on there. It sounded terrible because it was just clanking all over the place. I then put flat wounds on, and it sounded amazing because you got all the warmth and still had clarity. But the fretless does not have frets, so fretless and scalloped being two different things. I'm not sure how the flat wounds would sound, but I'm game. I'll try it. I'll definitely next time I change strings, I'll get a set of flat wounds and see how it sounds. Maybe I'll do like an A/B recording. I'll record something with the round wounds, change strings, record with the flat wounds, and then we could do like an A/B comparison. That's a great thing. Great. Thank you for saying that because I never even thought about that.
I was just curious, because as soon as you were talking about you make your own guitars, you see how beautiful they are, and you're talking about the strings and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, does he use round ones or does he use flat ones with the scallop guitar? So thank you. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how that turns out.
No, it's definitely a great point that you brought up. That you inspired me today to do something. So that'll be one of my next videos. So
thank you. Yeah. Awesome. Where'd Neil go?
Thank you for that. Yeah, it's great.
Here we go. It's always interesting hearing people's points of views about that. There's certainly a lot of opinions. Some people are so stuck in liking what they like, they won't really ever try anything different, which, I'll try anything, when it comes to instruments or at least once. Yeah, exactly, So you have another tune you want to play?
I do. So this is a song that I wrote years ago, but the lyrics, the topical content is so relevant even today, if not more so today, that I am I'm in the process of re-recording the lyrics, and I'm going to remix it to really update things that I've wanted to do from prior release. It's called Idle Hands, and that's IDOL, like an idol, like a golden idol.
Idle Plans.
Idle Hands.
Idle Hands. Okay, I like it. Very clever little wordplay.
Yes.
And it's basically about the most people that are troubled in this world are those who seem to either worship or have certain strong beliefs, whether they're political or religious or whatever, or, and that's the IDOL part, or have too much time on their hands, and that's the IDLE part. So it's a
Absolutely.
combination of the two. So
Gotcha.
here we go. So I'm going to just play a little bit of this so you can hear the sound.
Okay. All right. Very nice.
Thanks.
Thing sounds sweet. I mean, God.
Yeah,
I noticed it almost like Roy Buchanan, like, the way you played that, the fade in, it sounded almost Jeff Becky, Roy Buchanan, like some great.
Jeff Beck, my favorite all-time guitar player.
Oh, one of mine too. In fact, if not my favorite, highly underrated. I mean, everybody knows he's a killer. I've loved him since I was a kid. I've learned like blow by blow the whole record, and
Me too, dude. Me too.
I'd sit around and terrorize my parents.
What about the Wired album? That was a great album.
Oh yeah. Oh man, you've obviously been studying Jeff.
I love Jeff. I got to meet him, and I have a funny story about that. If there's time, if not, I'll talk to you.
No, there's definitely time, man. Go ahead and tell us. The Jeff Beck story will always make time. He's the man.
Okay, so Jeff Beck was playing. Where the fuck was it? In the city. Ooh, excuse my language. He was playing in Manhattan, and I forget where he was playing. And my friend calls me, who knows I'm a Jeff Beck fan, and he says, "Paul, you going to see Jeff Beck tonight?" And I'm like, "Mark, I don't have tickets." He's like, "Oh, I know, I can get us in." So he's like, "Bring stuff you want to get signed. I'll get us backstage." And I'm like, "Come on." He's like, "No. Bring your guitar. Bring whatever you got." So we go to the show. We go to the back, and he talks his way in to getting us in through the back entrance. We get in, and we're watching the show. At the end of the show, he's trying to get to the backstage, and the bouncer's like, no, there's no friends coming back, no visitors backstage. Jeff's tired. That's it. So I'm like, "Come on, Mark, let's go home." So the bouncer, somebody yelled or something, and the bouncer ran to fix the situation, and my friend Mark grabbed me by the hand, and we ran up the steps past.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm like, holy shit, we're going to get fucking tackled and thrown out. But we made it upstairs, and we got to right where the actual dressing room door is. So me and my friend Mark are standing there, and we're waiting. And then all of a sudden, an elderly gentleman stands right next to me, and I wasn't even paying attention. And then someone brought a chair over for the guy and said, "Here, Les, have a seat." And it was Les Paul. So
wonderful.
I'm sitting here, Les Paul's sitting here, and my friend Mark, I'm sorry, I'm standing, Les Paul is sitting, and my friend Mark is on the other side. Now, Mark, if you're watching, I'm sorry I'm going to say this, Mark was kind of wasted. He was very drunk then. So he was kind of wavering, And so as soon as I find out it's Les Paul, I'm like, "Oh my God, Les, I love you. The things you've done. I'm sorry, I'm sounding like a fan, but you're such an inspiration, blah, blah, blah." And he was very gracious. So finally, the manager, Jeff Beck's manager, comes out of the room and says, "I'm sorry, Jeff's not having any visitors." He said, "But Les, you can go in." So Les Paul is sitting in this chair and he looks up at me and he says, I have an idea. Would you and your friend be willing to carry me into Jeff Beck's studio like a king on a throne? I think Jeff would get a kick out of it. And I'm like, hell yeah.
Nice.
So me and my friend, now I have a guitar on my back because I brought it to get signed. I have a guitar on my back, and Mark is on the other side. We pick him up. We're bringing him in. Jeff Beck starts doing this. He's
Oh,
bowing.
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
It's hysterical. I'm bringing him in, and my friend Mark is like wavering, and I'm thinking, oh my God, we're going to kill Les Paul. I'm going to go down in his and kill Les Paul because we dropped him, you know? So luckily we got him in, we put him down. They closed the door. So now it's me, Mark, Les, and hey, at the time Jennifer Batten was playing, who's an amazing
Oh, yeah.
guitar.
Great player. Shit,
And
yeah.
And so the four of us, now Jeff thought we were with Les. So he was talking with us. We had such a great night. He played my guitar. He signed the pick guard. I had the pick guard framed on the wall. I brought a mouse.
Nice.
I have this mouse pad, and you're not going to be able to see it, but it's got Les Paul's signature, Jennifer Batten, and Jeff Beck's signature, all three on it.
Very
And
nice.
I also brought my 1978 first year press of Blow by Blow of Jeff Beck Wired, and he signed that. I have that in my studio too. So that was like such an amazing brush with greatness. I even just relaying you the story so many years later, I remember how I felt then, and I feel it again. You know, it was great.
You know, I have to mention something to you because we have, like, I always find lots of musician friends. We've all had similar experiences, and I'm going to tell you my the abbreviated version. I was at the Audio Engineering Society convention in New York. I want to say it was like 94 or 95. It was whatever year in the early 90s they weren't in LA, because I just graduated from Full Sail University and I was working as an engineer. And I came up to AES and I was looking for gear for the studio I worked for and just doing the whole AES experience, which is, for anybody wondering, that's the Audio Engineering Society. And we do all things sparks, voltage, lighting things on fire when we're not supposed to. We test a lot of cool stuff and blow shit up with sound. It's a great living, better living through physics, people. Turn it up loud, man. But I'm sitting in a room and I'm at the Sequential Circuits party. And they've got the presidential suite of the New York Hilton, which I affectionately love to call the toilet, because it's just like, the place is old. It's a little long in the tooth. You know, you kind of wander around. There's like those musty smells. It smells like The Shining is starting to happen there. You know, and my room that year, I had a wonderful view of like the elevator shaft, and like there's no views from the windows inside. My boss at the time was fairly cheap, so I didn't exactly have the penthouse like Sequential Circuits rented. So a friend of mine said, come on up to the party, got me tickets. I go up, I'm hanging around. I meet some interesting people, you know, like Nile Rodgers. There's all these great people. I was still kind of young and a little bit in fan mode back then. I was, you know, young and full of piss and vinegar. And so I'm sitting in a room, and a friend of mine we're basically got the window open, and we're in there just partaking. We're having a little medicinal herb, as we would call it nowadays. We finish, and the room's still a little cloudy. I've got the air conditioner on, the shower's running to get the steam. You know, we're doing the whole, and we turn that off, and it's starting to get back to normal. And like you, I see an older guy walk down the hall. He walks past, and he's with a younger guy in a blue vest, a blue tour jacket like he used to get in the 90s and 80s. Silk, you know, everybody had one, and they look horribly. Now when I put one on, I have one of my old ones, and I look like such a dork. I go, ew, I'm auditioning for a dork. Oh. At any rate, I see the guy walk in first, and his jacket says Les Jr., which Les's son is a great guy and just knows so much. Then Les Paul comes in behind him, and I recognized him, and I made the connection as soon as I saw Les Jr. It was a Les Paul Productions jacket. So he comes in, he goes, my dad really hates the smoke and all the carousing out there. He's just had enough of it. He needs to just sit down for a while. And I just looked at him and I'm like, ultra flummoxed. So I look at Les and I'm like, well, we were just smoking some herb in here. You might, he doesn't freak out. He's like, oh, no, don't worry about it. He's just too much crowd, too many people coming up and hectoring him for autographs, the usual shit. And he's one of the most gracious people when he was alive. God rest his soul. So I said, do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions? And at that point, when I start talking and asking questions, it's over. I mean, him and I went on for about an hour back and forth. I had lived in New Jersey in Wyckoff and ridden by his house a bunch of times, riding up to the Ramapo Reservation up in Mawa. Well,
Yep.
I told him that when I was a kid, he used to go to the church I went to. And I always had ridden by his house, but never had the nerve to stop in, even though I knew he lived there. So I got the invite to the studio. It was just an amazing night. And so we talk, and I'm just like, oh my God, he's answered. I told him, thank you for inventing the Les Paul. Thank you for inventing, multi-track recording. Thank you for teaching us how to do tape echo. All these things that he was so far ahead of his time, him and his records. And of course, he's got the hand-built console at his house, along with a Neve console. So he had the best. He's got all this stuff that's hand-built, his stuff. And then he had a big Neve console and all this other gear. It was just, what a guy. And obviously he was a great friend of Jeff's. And we all just, there's not many people like him. Eddie Van Halen comes to mind as someone who used to sit and build their own shit and screw around with a, soldering iron. And I kind of like that spirit of make it better. I don't know exactly what we're doing, but I don't know what it is, but it sounds so good,
I mean, for me, it wasn't. I didn't feel I was making a better guitar. I felt I was making a guitar that was more comfortable and had all the things I want. So
Right.
it made it better for me. Like I'm sure somebody would play this and say this is terrible because it's not for them. You can't
Right.
like there
They don't know.
are Les Paul guys that hate Strats. There are Strat guys
Sure.
who hate Les. You
Right.
can't please everyone. So yeah, I'm sure there were guys who would play Eddie's Frankenstrat and say this sucks. But
Right.
it's a matter of taste, it's just a matter of comfort. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I love building my own stuff because it makes sense to me. That's all.
Well, so you want to play a little more guitar? We can play Stump the Band. Let's see. Play some. Let's see. I don't know. Play some Led Zeppelin. Something hard and loud. Oh yeah, man. That is fucking cool. That's definitely what we're talking about. How about let's say again?
I love Jimmy Page. So, yeah.
I love Jimmy Page too. In fact, one of our friends is watching, and Rick Davis he knows all things Led Zeppelin. Also, I have a good friend of mine who's writing a book on John Bonham. He's interviewed 4,500 people. It by far will be the most. It'll be just the best, most exhaustively researched book. He wrote a book about Warren Zevon, which is absolutely one of the best. It's called Nothing's Bad Luck. Chad Cushions. I'm sorry, it's CK Cushions, but his name is Chad. And I recommend anybody watching the show, if you like Warren Zevon, definitely pick up his book, Nothing's Bad Luck. And he's also going to have this new book about Bonham, which I'm just so itching to. I want to read it. I know it's going to be coming out in October, but I'm going to keep harassing him until he lets me read a draft of it. I'm going to be like politely persistent. He's going to be like, piss off, Neely, buy a ticket, buy the book, which of course I plan to buy. And it's exhaustive. And then my friend Rick, getting back to him, he had his first beer at the Philly Spectrum with Led Zeppelin's drummer. with the amazing John the Immortal Bonham. And so ever since then, he's been into it. He's corresponded with the family, he knows Jason very well. One of these days, he's going to get Jason on the show for us, I hope. And, I'd love to just talk to him about growing up as the son of John. We could just spend all day talking. I mean, really, I thought I started young. I started about 7 years old, and I played all my life. And I've never stopped, and I continue to annoy people in venues large and small wherever I go. Yeah, you're only as young as you feel, and I really, I don't know anything else I'd rather do. The show thing is alien for me. I'm here making it up as I go. It was like COVID, between having a bad accident a couple of years ago and then COVID. And then when I was just starting to feel good and recovered from the accident when COVID hit. So I've been like in quarantine now, really a long time. And considering I was in the hospital for 7 or 8 months. And so when I got out and finally, like, my brain said, as soon as I'm out of the hospital, I'm going to be back. I'm going to be kicking. I'm going to be jiving and shucking. No. It wasn't until Christmas I was like feeling, I could walk around and do things. But that's all in the past, and I'm tan, fit, and mostly ready for prime time. So, listen, it's been great having you on. It looks like Julie has signed off, and I'm not sure where she went, but she's not here. Julie, where are you, babe? So, normally at this time we would roll music and we'd walk it on out. How about this? Why don't you play us a little music to walk us on out? And then, hey, man, Paul, I'm going to cut off when you're done. Thank you very much. We love you, man, and definitely stay in touch.
Dude, love you too. Thank you again so much for having me on your show. This is amazing. I'll come back anytime you want. We could talk shop.
Well, that's great, and I like that. And I also know that I know where to find a very good smoking guitar player in the area that we can hang, and I'll call you when the time is right. I have a couple of tunes we're working on, and I'll just say this, man. I have my guitar player friend in Tampa, Florida, or St. Pete, rather, Jerry Outlaw of the Immortal Bogus Pomp, the hottest Zappa tribute band in the world. They are. Well, I have to take that back. Andre, if you're listening, man, your band's great. Scott, if you're listening, all of you guys, I love everybody playing Zappa's music. That's who I usually hire for stunt guitar playing. And I think you could fit the bill as far as making strange sounds and things that go bump in the night. I can tell, obviously, I can just tell you to sew all my vocal lines together, just neatly, tightly, and you'll make it better than it is. So I look forward to talking to you professionally. And let's go ahead and tear it up. Everybody, you're watching Paul J. Baccash on Live with Neve. We're going to shut down after this, and we will be back. It's 2:03, so we're going to shut down. We'll be back at 3 o'clock with Roy Bookbinder. Tear it up, Paul.
All right, this is Idle Hands.
Here we go.
The tabloids, we take it over the news. Religion, superstition, traditions, all taboo. Because all is outside. Education, choice don't temptations, regulations, restrictions chain you down. Selection, genuflection, all gods can take a bow. Hypocrisy's the bow. And you become a now idle hand, make a plan, talk about all your life, open temple. Idle hands walking through when you are miserable from the left door. Yeah. sexual direction. Devotion to new laws. Hellfire appears you have. Lead you to suicide. Our hands make a plan. As a man of a life becomes echo. Oh, man's walking through when you are miserable from a window. Hey, our hands. Our hands walking through when you are miserable from a window. Our hands walking through when you are miserable from a window. Our hands make a plan, make a man, what's in bed, what comes after. Our hands walking through when you are miserable from a window. Our hands.
All right, all right, all right. Hey, man, thank you very much, everybody. This is the wonderful and talented Paul Baccash. Thank you, brother, so much for being on. And if anybody's out there watching still, we'll be back at 3 o'clock. We've got, we have Roy Bookbinder today after Paul. And Paul, thank you so much for appearing with us, man. You're great.
Thank you, and love you. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Julie. And I hope to see you soon. I'll be watching your shows.
All right, man. Well, anytime, man, you got something new you want to talk about, you can always call us, but I'll be ringing you back. Had a great time with you.
Awesome. I had a great time, too. Thanks again, and be well.
All right, you too. All right, everybody, we're going to be signing off, and we hope you'll be back in about a half an hour. I'm going to take a brief break. I'm going to go ahead and have a little more agua. Actually, that was grapefruit juice, which was just a little tart, you might say. So we'll be back. Thank you for joining us, and we always appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye, everybody.